All right, welcome again, friends. I was gonna do this flip through with my other flip through. If you look, one of the last videos I did was on this Moleskine sketchbook, but it was already a 9-minute video, so I just thought I'd put another short one up here. This is one of my current art journals, and I'm just gonna do a flip through of what I've got so far. It's not even halfway done, but I love this book. This is a Holy Grail hardcover. It's a nonfiction, and it's just an informational book, but you have to see, oh, that's a little sneak peek. You have to see some of these images. So it's just gorgeous. And what I've been doing is, as you can see over here, I've been gluing 2 pages together to make a much thicker page and then gessoing thickly over the top because you can see it's shiny and it's got a lot of gloss on these pages. So, but they're such gorgeous images. I haven't used a lot of the images, but I have pulled out some pages and used some in other things. But so often you can just find a book and alter it to make an art journal, and that's what I've done with this one. And it's a really heavy duty, it's a well bound book. You can see the binding is good with the signatures. It's a traditional binding, not just a glued binding. So anyway, so this one I actually started the year I turned 40. And I said I think this is my decade for me. I'm now 42, but it's been really awesome. It's not like my 30s. My 30s were tough for me. I had a lot of struggle with depression after my 4th child was born, and I have a video about that actually, and so it's something that's near and dear to my heart to help people who are struggling. But art journaling is very important for that, and it was instrumental in my own healing. So I started this one the year of my 40th birthday, and a lot of reflection in this one since the pages are nice and thick, and when I gesso over the top it can hold a lot of different media. So paint on here, this is actually from a stamp that I made using just cardboard, like paperboard, and foam foam core. I don't know what it's called. That the foam sheets that you can buy a whole stack of them, and they're really cheap, and you can cut them out and glue them on to cardboard and make stamps. So that's what I did with this. That's what this little candle stamp was. And then just, you'll notice when you see my journals, I don't often use pinks and purples. Those are not my color scheme, so I was just experimenting with some colors based on some papers I had. So collage and some washi down here. I love watercolor crayons. I have a video up on what to do with watercolor crayons, so love that. And here's a technique that I really, really like. This, I've used this a lot in different ways, but it's gesso on the background, and then I did some sketch, but then also I outlined in watercolor crayon, and since the watercolor crayon responds to wet media, I put gesso, some more gesso, and actually rubbed it into the watercolor crayon, and it makes this awesome kind of smushed, smudged image and color, and I just love that. Here's a page I didn't even do. I didn't even finish that page yet. Okay, so here is some practice that I did for an e-course that I taught. I was a part of the MADE e-course a couple years ago. So this was my practice pages for that. And this is watercolor with oil pastels, which resist the watercolor. And then this is tissue paper up top. And some more experimenting with just scratching out images in acrylic paint. I love this page. This one, the color scheme I really like. So the oranges and pinks and reds I can do. The pink and purple is a little bit not my style. But here we go. This is the full version of what I had done for the MADE e-course. And I had some bricks down here. It was a very cathartic couple pages to do. This was just a background that I did. I never actually worked with, but I wanted to practice. I actually did a Rorschach type, closing the book and opening it up, and with some of the paint there. Some more practice that I did for a little canvas I was making. This little bench, yellow bench that makes me happy. And then this was a sketch. It doesn't look like a sketch, but it actually is. It's a sketch that I made on dictionary paper. And those are kind of a reflection on community based on a sermon that I heard at church. And then some more practice with color. I was painting from this little magazine clipping. It's kind of hard to see, but practicing with color here. And I guess I use this journal quite a bit for practice for paintings that I'm working on. So this was a little abstract I was working on. And then I actually have a YouTube video up on how I made this page. But I love this quote. It's by Mary Oliver, and she said, "Last night the rain spoke to me slowly, saying what joy to come falling out of the brisk cloud, to be happy again in a new way on the earth." Beautiful. And here's another page, and this actually is a packing tape transfer. You can kind of see the packing tape here, but that haunting image was just beautiful for me. And I have a couple quotes here. One from John 14 and one from Buddha. Just really interesting kind of juxtaposition of those two quotes. Here's some more practice with paints. Now this is getting more to my color scheme. I love blues. It's funny because my favorite color, if I were to see it, it would be yellow, but to paint, I like blues and greens better. Use a lot of blues. Here's another messy spread I did working through. It's just some stuff in my head, which, you know, that's what art journaling is about. This is kind of a compilation of different ways I use my art journal, I guess. So there's just some planning stuff, there's some emotional work through, and there's also some practice for my painting. So an art journal is whatever you want it to be. That's what's the best thing about it. Now this one has a great background with some gesso and acrylic and watercolor crayon, but it's also more like a glue book with the magazine pages, and I just love this. I put this little foot up here. I don't know, it just fits so well. And this is one of my favorite pages in this one. Darkness Isn't Dark to You, also from John 1. I love the book of John. Can you hear my kids screaming upstairs? That's lovely. This is the half round window in my living room. When I'm up early with my prayer time, I look out that window, and certain times a year I can see Venus and Jupiter and sometimes the moon just through that window. It's just the most rewarding thing to see. All right, so this is an image from a magazine. This is just some acrylic on the bottom, and this stripe here and also these are acrylic ink. I really enjoy working with acrylic ink. They are somewhat unpredictable, which I really appreciate about them. And then this was just, I believe, Sharpies. Here's a page I did relatively recently. I hadn't dated these in a while. It's kind of a problem. I usually date at least every few pages so I can know when I did them, but this was recent, within the past month probably. And then here's some more acrylic painting practice I was doing. And that's it for this one. I still have quite a bit left. Now I will take out some of these pages so it won't get too thick, and then the remaining pages, like I said, I will glue together. So thank you so much for watching.